depressed over yesterday's vote. We'll have the best election analysis. Are you ready for the best? Because I know you had to sit through stuff last night on cable television. Boy, was it bad. I got to tell you, it's getting worse and worse and worse. The reason is that many, perhaps most of these pundits are afraid. So they just say what's predictable. They're not thinking. But we don't do that here because we're not afraid of anything or anybody. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So what happened? Americans are angry. That's the headline. They're angry for two reasons. High prices. It's an enormous issue. And President Trump has got to understand his legacy is tied in directly with lowering prices for working Americans and retirees. That's it. How simple is that? Secondly, the government shutdown. People don't like chaos. They don't understand why the government shut down. They just know that every day they hear scary stuff. They don't know why. They don't know who's right, who's wrong. You guys do, because you're the PhDs of American consumers by watching what I'm putting out there and listening on the radio. You have a PhD. You're engaged. You're getting information every day. Most of your peers are on Netflix or in some bubble world. They don't know anything, but they do know how they feel. And Americans are angry. Now, the government shutdown worked to the Democratic Party's advantage, even though they caused it. Life is not fair. All right. So, yesterday, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, and by far the most charismatic leader in the country, and the head of the Republican Party, was not engaged in the vote. Yes, he made a few calls, he made a few endorsements, but he was not involved. That suppressed Republican turnout. Democrats were way more motivated to go to the polls, many of whom hate Donald Trump. And whatever he likes, they're going to vote against it. That's a motivating force. Now, this is the worst. Almost every single pundit said, oh, this is a harbinger, word of the day. They didn't use that word because they don't know what it means. This is a forecast for the midterms in November 26th. No, it's not. And that's what I said on News Nation. I scolded them all. I said, no, because 12 months from now, there are going to be tremendous changes in this country. It's not going to be the same place in 12 months. Why? Because there are so many unresolved situations that are in the courts. The tariffs, immigration raids, National Guard, on and on and on and on. Drug interdiction by blowing the hell out of these people. It's all in litigation. By this time next year, it will be settled. And the economy could go either way. Tariffs might lead to a lot of benefit, or they might not. We don't know. So to say that a minor vote, and that's what this year was, is going to lead to an outcome is just dumb. All right? And I don't care what these people, if I'm insulting them, I'm insulting them. Okay. So don't worry about that. Both parties have to worry about how this is going to evolve. Look, if Mandani is a disaster in New York, and I don't know even if he'll try to do anything, he might just sit there. I don't know. But if he's a disaster, that is going to hurt the Democratic Party and the progressive left big time. and lead to the defeat of New York Governor Hochul. That's what that will do. But we don't know how bad this man is going to be. We will know in, 6 months. So there are a lot of things that are undefined. Now, Virginia, let's get specific. Bad Republican candidate. I listened to her once. I said, no way she wins. They could have put up anybody against her. There's no way that she's going to win. She got waxed. Jersey. Still can't figure out Jersey. I don't know what the people who voted for Miss Sherrill as governor, and she's not a nut. She's a moderate Democrat, military vet. But what do you hope to get out of that vote? Democratic Party is going to raise your taxes, and Jersey's up to here with taxes. You think you're going to get tax relief from the Democrats? You're not. So what did you vote for? The only thing I can figure out is they voted against Trump. That's it. And Jersey is the same as where I am in Nassau County, Long Island. It's the same folks. My mother was raised in Teaneck, New Jersey. And this is really the ultimate irony. My county here went all red. They revolted against Mamdani in New York City. I live just on the outskirts of Queens, okay, just over the city line. And Nassau County, huge, okay, on the Republican side, because they know here, because it's a different demographic, and we'll get into that. They know what a disaster the potential is in New York City. They don't want it. And the guy here, Blakeman, who runs the county, did a good job. Very low crime, didn't raise taxes, so why would you vote against him? Okay. The Jersey thing, I was going to run a soundbite, but most of you people don't live in New Jersey. You don't care what happens in New Jersey, and I understand. But I don't know why the Democrats won so big in New Jersey, and they won big. Okay, now Zoran, he was such a better candidate than Cuomo. It was like the LA Dodgers playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sorry, Pittsburgh Pirates. It was just no. Mamdani was a very good campaigner. Smiling guy. Hi, how are you? I'm going to give you everything. Non-threatening. And Cuomo, okay. So that meant a lot. That meant a lot. Just people who are uninformed and the younger people. I'm going to give you the numbers in a moment. But the big thing was that up to 50%, and we don't have the stat. We should have it, but we don't. There are 5 million registered voters in New York City. 5 million. Okay? Most states don't have 5 million people. Well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of states don't. Half didn't show up. Half of the voters in New York City didn't show up because they don't care who's running the show, right? And there was a big turnout for the mayoral race, more than 2 million. But when half don't show up, anybody can win. And many of those who voted in New York City are born overseas. Now, this is going to sound like a slight. I'm sure the internet smear merchants, gutter snipes will pick it up. Traditional American values are still embraced by most indigenous Americans who were born here and whose family passed down the values of self-reliance, competition, freedom. You're born overseas, you have a totally different value system. You may want our values, but you were raised in a different culture where things happen differently. When you have an enormous amount of foreign voters, as you do in Los Angeles and New York City, you're not going to have the same kind of vote you had 20 years ago. That flooding the zone with immigrants has worked for the Democratic Party. I didn't know whether it would. but it has. It's altered everything. And it's not that these are bad people. They're here legally. They can vote legally. They work much harder, in my experience, than people born here. I'm generalizing, of course. But their culture is different. And that means a lot. So, to sum up, this has got nothing to do with the midterms. But President Trump should see this as a warning. Got to bring those prices down. Can't be hammering working people with high insurance, high utilities, sky-high food. You're going to lose. Even if the Democrats aren't going to do anything about it because it's essentially their fault, Biden was so bad, that's not what Americans do. The incumbent party always takes it between the eyes, which is what's happened on the shutdown. And that's the memo. Imagine getting your medication from a pharmacy that actually makes your life easier. No more tracking down a doctor or waiting in line. All Family Pharmacy handles it all for you. Consultations, prescriptions, fulfillment, and shipping. As we head into the holidays, fall allergies, sinus infections, cold and flu are all around us. Now's the time to stay ahead. All Family Pharmacy is by your side, helping you prepare with your meds for the entire family. From antibiotics to antivirals and ivermectin to blood pressure meds and more. Whether it's for daily use, emergencies, or trusted off-label options, they make it simple. Licensed doctors review every order for safety, and everything ships right to your door. So please visit allfamilypharmacy.com/bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/bill, code BILL10. Joining us now is John Chell. This is a great booking we got here. Mr. Chell just retired a few weeks ago as chief of department for New York City Police Department. He was the highest ranking uniformed officer in the department for the last couple of years. He joins us from Staten Island. That's a pretty good lead in for you, Chief, right?
Thank you, sir. Sound pretty good. Thank you.
Are you moving out of here if Mandami wins?
No, I'll be staying right here, just trying to do my part and support the city the best I can. But like you said, if he wins, the whole paradigm of public safety is going to shift to a social network versus a law enforcement network. And, you know, in some places I worked a little bit in policing, but it really has the potential to hurt this whole city as it relates to public safety.
Give me some specifics on what you see happening.
Well, first look at his rhetoric. He's no fan of the police department by his own words. When you hear his rhetoric about he wants to maintain staffing levels, well, what does that mean? We're already down 1,000 cops, and about 3,800 change can leave in January. So he doesn't want to hire more cops, and we need more cops. Look at his rhetoric as it relates to crime. He's kind of nuanced. Well, I didn't say I don't want prostitution, but I want to decriminalize it. I didn't say I don't want to enforce misdemeanors, which those are those perception laws, right? But I don't want cops focused on low-level offenses. So he's sending signals out here that he wants more of a social network, and to pay for that, what about $1.8 billion into his community action teams? That's going to come from the police department budget. That's really going to hurt. Because, Bill, you know, this city's 24/7, 365. Every minute something happens here. We just came through. Yeah.
I do know that, and I know a lot about policing, as you know. And what I see is that 911 calls will be delayed because there just physically aren't going to be enough cops on the shifts to answer them as quickly as they need to be answered. The morale in a police department, setting up civilian review boards to Monday morning quarterback everything the cops do in the street. And these review boards, they don't like the police. They're anti-police. So before you left, Mandami was obviously in play. Generally speaking, how did the police see this?
Well, you just hit it. Morale is hurting. It's hurting because we're understaffed and we're working too hard. And here's something you probably want to know, Bill. The cops want a great contract and they don't have one. But their biggest complaint of all, to all the unions, and I dealt with them every day, was the Civilian Complaint Review Board. If he gets his way, which is a ballot issue for next year, to have the Civilian Complaint Review Board be the final arbiter of complaints against cops, you will see a mass exodus. No cop is going to stay to let some 20-year-old kid who's not an investigator, pretending to be an investigator, who's going to adjudicate laws against the police department.
Sure.
That will be a backbreaker.
Well, it puts the cops in danger because they can be sued civilly. I mean, well, you can break them by filing a lawsuit on assault or whatever. But what we have been following is the assaults on police, physical assaults, people punching them, kicking them, all of that. And those crimes have risen dramatically, or am I wrong?
They're up about 40%, 40% since bail reform. And the conviction rate for a felony conviction for attacking a police officer is at an abysmal 6%.
Wow.
This is why recidivism, as much as we brought crime down, because we have a 30% rise in crime since bail reform. So we're fighting this new platform of crime by about 127,000 crimes a year, and we're getting it down 1, 2, 3, 4% because we suffer from recidivism. We suffer from lack of prosecution. Now, the ADAs, they inherited bail reform from our state legislative, but another actor here was not doing their job are the judges. They're confusing their ideology for the law. The whole system is messed up here, Bill.
It's the DAs, too. Bragg, and particularly Bragg in Manhattan, and Darcel Clark in Bronx. You know the case of the two NYPDs who were attacked on a subway platform in the Bronx on videotape. Both of them had to go to the hospital. There were 3 attackers. 2 were arrested and charged. That case has been adjourned 20 times. 2-0. That's it. They don't want to prosecute. Darcel Clark in the Bronx doesn't want to prosecute these thugs. They're out. They've been out. They haven't spent, I don't think they spent even an overnight in jail.
Well, I'll tell you something else, Bill. Okay, first of all, think about what happened. You're smoking a cigarette. Police officer asks you to distinguish the cigarette or leave. And their response is to a full frontal attack.
Yeah.
You get arrested for assault to a police officer. You go in front of a judge, and the judge lets them out. Now, 5 months later, Mr. McCleary gets locked up for an illegal gun. And
that's one of the guys charged.
Yes. Yep. He's one of the 2 that's charged with assault too. He gets locked up for a gun, and he's still out. He's a 2-time walking indictment.
Right.
Walking around our streets. This is broken.
Sure, but that's Albany, and that's the legislature. It's not Mandami, but Mandami sympathizes with that. But what annoyed me on this case, other than the obvious travesty of adjournment 20 times, is that the police unions didn't stand up. All right? They didn't. They should be out there with signs in front of Clark's office. They should be screaming and yelling. Nobody knows about the case. And these poor officers, and everybody in the cops know, they know they're not going to get a lot of support if they even get shot. And that's the final word. You got a guy who's soft on crime, Mandani. There's no question he's soft on crime. You got a budget cutter who's going to take money away from the police. You got 911 where the innocent people in New York who are set upon by dangerous criminals, that's their last line of defense. And that's going to collapse, I predict right now. Last word.
It's a recipe for disaster. Response times are going to go higher. Calls for service are already up 20%. And then if you're going to hamstring the cops, they are not going to be proactive. They're going to be reactive. They're not going to take chances. And the collective effect is going to really hurt the city. We already came back from bail reform from 2022 because we were stuck in COVID. I don't know if we can come back a second time. And
I don't know. Really Mandani in 4 years is going to do so much damage, not only to the police, but to the social fabric of the city. It almost will be unrecognizable. Hey, Chief, we really appreciate it. Enjoy your retirement, and we'll talk again soon, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We don't talk enough about those truly making a positive impact So let's take a moment to discuss Delta Rescue, the world's largest no-kill care for life animal sanctuary. Home to more than 1,500 rescued animals, it is staffed by trained specialists who provide lifelong care, love, and safety. They do incredible work. But look, it's important to remember that Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from us. I have donated, and so should you. Their founder, Leo Grillo, built a legacy of dedication and everlasting love for animals. So consider making it a part of your legacy too. Talk with an estate planner. Check out the estate planning tab at deltarescue.org. You can make a difference, even get potential tax benefits. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. deltarescue.org. When you're buried in credit card and loan debt, it's easy to put it off and say, I'll deal with it later. But here's the thing. Done with Debt has a little known strategy that can dramatically reduce or even erase what you owe. This fall, they will aggressively engage your lenders because they know rich credit card and loan companies are doing year-end accounting and cutting deals to clear debt fast, meaning you need to start with Done with Debt right now, this fall. They can help end your debt fast without bankruptcy or loans. In fact, most clients have more money in their pocket the first month. So get started while you still have time. Go to donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their specialists for free. Visit donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. Here is the final thought of the day. So I'm writing my next book. It'll be out this time next year. It is called Confronting America, What Has to Change. What a bear. So we got to research and write. You got to start now to get it all done by about April or May so they can then set the type and all that. But everything's changing. So what has to change, some of it's already changing. So it's driving me nuts. But this is a very personal book. And I'm going to say a lot of stories you've never heard before. But this is what I do after I do this. So the old cliche is all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. I don't think I could get any duller. It's Bill, not Jack, but man, I'm working too much. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. I'm Bill O'Reilly. We'll see you again on Monday. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.